Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to your Lunch Break Live. My name's Ivana if you are new here, and if you are not, thanks for coming back. Today, I am joined by our own AL.com reporter, Paul Gattis, and Paul is here to talk about something that happened yesterday, and that was where our newly elected, newly sworn-in Senator Tommy Tuberville visited Alabama and actually made his first media appearance since being sworn in and since being elected to the U.S. Senate. So Senator Tuberville had a lot to say. We talked about President Trump and the Capitol protests. He talked about the U.S. Space Command headquarters now being moved to Huntsville. So a lot of topics here to cover, and Paul's here to recap in case you missed that interview with Senator Tuberville. So Paul, thanks for dropping by to recap this. I know that we've been looking forward to hearing from the senator for quite a while.
Yeah, and he kept a low profile on the campaign trail, and you could argue about that one way or the other, but either way, he won election to the Senate in a fairly wide margin. So I guess at the end of the day, his strategy worked. But yeah, he was in Huntsville. He was sort of capping a statewide swing. Visiting with people, visiting with doctors and health officials about COVID-19 and the rollout of the vaccine. But of course, yesterday, with the impeachment of President Trump, COVID-19 actually kind of got bumped off the front page a little bit.
Right. Well, we know, like you said, he visited several hospitals and other medical facilities across the state and was encouraging people to get their coronavirus vaccine. Mm-hmm. And something, though, so he came to Huntsville, kind of capped off that statewide visit, made this appearance, and media kind of had the opportunity to ask questions about several different things that have happened in this past week. It's kind of hard to believe it's only been a week, but regarding the Capitol protests last Wednesday, January the 6th, when he was asked about that and if he believes that President Trump played any part in those protests that turned into a riot, the senator said that Trump, quote, made a mistake when he ignited his supporters in that rally speech just before the protests turned violent. Paul, tell us a little bit how he elaborated on that, and did he ever say what mistake that necessarily was?
Well, the mistake he was referring to basically was some of the rhetoric that Trump used during his speech at the rally, which, of course, that speech is what has got him impeached now for the second time. But I will say it was a little head turning when Tuberville said that he thought Trump made a mistake, and he actually said it twice in the course of meeting with reporters yesterday. There's probably no stronger supporter for Trump in the Senate than Tommy Tuberville. I mean, he moved around the state on a campaign bus that had the word Trump on it as prominently as it had Tuberville. They have, Tuberville really tied his wagon to Trump throughout this campaign, eventually won the president's endorsement, and it landed him, the seat in the Senate.
Right.
So for him to even approach the idea of criticizing President Trump was really quite something.
Right. That was something, like you said, that Senator Tuberville really tied his entire campaign to. A lot of people probably have seen those signs that many people put in their yards that said TNT, Trump in Tuberville. Like you said, his campaign bus even had Trump's name on it. So he really tied himself to the president throughout his campaign season, we can say. But he said yesterday, and we have it on video because you went live from that appearance, Tuberville said that Trump made a mistake. And like you said, he said it twice, but he also said, meaning Tuberville also said, that impeachment was a waste of time and that he would not vote to convict Trump during the Senate trial.
So, like a lot of Republicans, Tuberville's sort of having to walk a little bit of a fine line there. I think that, in everyone's heart of hearts, maybe they realized that President Trump went a little too far in some of his rhetoric during his campaign speech, particularly given what happened in the immediate aftermath with his supporters storming the Capitol and really occupying the Capitol for about 6 hours. But at the same time, your President Trump still received almost 75 million votes in the presidential election. You don't want to be seen as completely turning your back on the president, because he does have a lot of supporters still out there. And even if this is the end of Trump's political career, Tuberville certainly hopes it's not the end of his political career, and other Republicans have the same mindset. So, you're trying to serve two masters here a little bit. You want to acknowledge what happened, but at the same time, you don't want to cut off your political nose, so to speak, despite your face.
Which was interesting, because Tuberville really did depend on the president being reelected for his strategy to stick with the president on a lot of his issues. But something else that I thought was really striking that Senator Tuberville said, and again, if anybody wants to hear the comments straight from Tuberville's mouth, we do have that video on our Facebook page, and also in Paul Gattis' story that we're going to link here in the comment thread. But something I thought was really interesting, Senator Tuberville said, quote, "President-elect Biden will take over next week, and we do not need any animosity," end quote. That was so interesting to me because of how Senator Tuberville has acted throughout the campaign and since he was elected, but particularly because the senator was one of 7 who continued to object to those electoral college votes even after the violence at the Capitol last Wednesday. He was one of the senators that said in the beginning he would object, and then after the violence, when several lawmakers stepped back and just decided to accept that electoral college result, he said that he was still going to object. So from last Wednesday to this Wednesday, just 7 days, it seems like the senator had made it kind of a change of heart there, saying that he doesn't want to have any animosity and that President-elect Biden will take office.
Well, yeah, and again, it sort of goes back to that fine line that you walk. I mean, and I'll let Senator Tuberville speak for himself, but it would seem like he's in the moment. Last week in the Senate, when they're having their hearings about the Electoral College challenges, and he received overtures from Trump and other allies of the president to stand by and keep protesting about those election results. But at the same time, you look at what happened. Maybe you see the video. Every day it seems like there's more information coming out about what happened at the Capitol. The death toll is now up to 5. That is something that we absolutely positively, no one, Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, no one wants to see a repeat of that. And yet Washington is going to gather again next week for the inauguration of President-elect Biden. And it's just, it's a situation that's really kind of got people on edge, I think. What will happen? What might supporters of President Trump or opponents of Biden, what might they do? They didn't hold back last week. I mean, even the man from North Alabama who was arrested, I mean, he had the FBI said he had like 11 Molotov cocktails in his vehicle. I mean, and if he had 11, what did the vehicle next to him have? It quite frankly, it's just kind of a scary situation. I think everybody just wants to move past Inauguration Day with no further incidents like we saw last week.
Do you believe that Tommy Tuberville's comments, again, quote, "President-elect Biden will take over next week and we do not need any animosity," end quote. Do you think that statement from Tuberville was almost trying to tell his and President Trump supporters to not bring back any violence, to not protest violently?
Yeah, I think so. And, I think even President Trump has come out in the last day or so with a couple of videos, urging his supporters, not to resort to the violent tactics that they applied last week, and hopefully, I'm not telling anybody whether they should be happy with the election results or upset with them, but again, I think we can all come together and agree we don't want to see what happened last week. We don't want a repeat of that. And look, I mean, protesting is about the absolute most American thing you can do. And that's, I support anybody's right to protest, but at the same time, there's a difference between protesting and breaking the law and pushing past the police like the Trump supporters did last week. And please, we don't want to see that again.
I'm going to quickly shift topics here and talk about something that Mr. Lyles keeps bringing up here. And he's talking about the COVID vaccine. I think that Lyles watched my video yesterday with our reporter, Dennis Pillion, and where we answered a lot of frequently asked questions about the coronavirus vaccine, how that rollout is going. And I think something that Lyles mentions is, look, we are not up. And also that I'm not sure if my audio went out. I'm going to keep going as if it didn't. So if anybody missed that audio, let me know, but had a little home internet connection issue happening. But yesterday, the senator was touring medical facilities, talking about why people should get their coronavirus vaccine. And to go back to what Lyle was saying, if he is out here encouraging people to get their coronavirus vaccine, is he going to be able to do anything for Alabama to amp up the distribution and the rollout of that vaccine here?
Well, the short answer is I'm not sure, because, and that's not necessarily a fault of Senator Tuberville. I don't know if there's anything any one senator or congressman can do. But Tuberville was visiting hospitals in Montgomery and Birmingham and Huntsville, talked to a lot of people. He did say he was going to go back to Washington and talk to people up there about some of the concerns, about some of the things he did learn. And one thing that he was concerned about is no secret to anybody in Alabama, is the rollout of the vaccine. And he said he had some ideas about how to improve distribution, how to make that more efficient. And so I think we can all support that and hope that that rollout does get a little bit more efficient.
When Senator Tuberville said that he had ideas on improving that rollout, did he name what those ideas were?
No, he didn't really get into any kind of specifics, but I suspect that, in talking with health officials, they share with him some of their ideas maybe. And being on the front lines, it would seem like they would be sort of the experts on this, and Senator Tuberville is to be commended for going out and talking with these people and taking those ideas and those suggestions back to Washington.
So again, getting a lot of questions about vaccine things here. If you missed my video yesterday at 11 a.m. answering frequently asked questions about that vaccine, I recommend going checking it out. We talked a lot about some of these questions I'm getting here. And if you want to, y'all let me know. I can bring somebody on next week. We can talk more about that. We know that was something that the senator was here in Alabama for yesterday, was to encourage people to get that vaccine. And also, from what Paul said, who interviewed the senator yesterday, he had some ideas about rollout and was going to bring them back to Washington. Now, one other thing I wanted to ask you, Paul, is another reason why the senator was in Huntsville, and that was with the announcement the U.S. Space Command headquarters will be located in Huntsville. What did Senator Tuberville say about that announcement?
Well, he was just echoing what everyone else is saying. It's a lot of excitement. It's a big deal for Huntsville. And more than just the idea of bringing 1,600 jobs to Huntsville, I think just the prestige of Space Command, bringing that to Redstone Arsenal, that's just it's a tremendous feather in Huntsville's cap. But beyond that, one thing I think that maybe has gotten a little overlooked in this is that Alabama was part of a competition with several states to land this, and it's a very highly sought after command, and Alabama won it, so to speak. And Alabama, for better or for worse, we get laughed at a lot. I'm a native Alabamian, I can say that. We are Alabama. We say thank God for Mississippi. But I think this is something that for everyone in Alabama to really take a lot of pride in, that when you stacked up all the criteria between Alabama and Colorado and Florida, that there was a lot about Alabama that the Air Force liked, and that's why they decided to come to Alabama. That's why they decided to come to Redstone Arsenal. Now, that's not, Senator Shelby is a tremendously influential person in Washington. He was pushing for this. He's been working for this for years. That's not to be overlooked. But at the end of the day, Alabama just stacked up pretty well against these other states. And we don't get to say that very often unless we're talking about college football.
And bringing it back there to college football, regarding the Senator, that it was not his team that won the other night, but we do know that at least, like you said, we do have some good football news here in Alabama with the Crimson Tide taking home that national championship. So, Paul, thank you so much for coming and recapping Senator Tuberville's visit to Alabama, to Huntsville. We know that has not been a very frequent thing with the Senator. We have not gotten a lot of media appearances from him. So this one was very important.
Well, and hopefully we'll get a lot more. And he's got some big shoes, to fill going forward. I mean, he's going to be our senator for the next 6 years, and he's got a big job.
Absolutely. So, Paul, again, thanks so much. Everybody watching, thank you. I see we still have some coronavirus vaccine questions. I'm going to jump in the comments here in a little bit, try to answer those. But otherwise, thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.